Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Small Business Cheerleader web series and podcast. I'm here today, joined by the lovely Lesa Blackham of Lesa Blackham Coaching. I would just like to say hello, and how are you today?
Hi, Nicola.
Hi, you're good. You're good. She's coming to us all the way from Esperance via Zoom magic. Now, Lisa's been in Esperance for 27 years. Wow, that is awesome. What a lovely place. I love it down there. I just love it. Is it like paradise on earth? Is that what it feels like? It feels like when
Yeah,
I go down there.
pretty much. Although the wind is pretty wild today, but we've
Oh my
had,
gosh, yeah.
mm,
Down at Lucky Bay there, when I was down there the first time, it was stormy, and oh my God, that was intense. That was intense.
yes. Well,
Um,
we've had a
yeah,
little
so
intense time for the
we're
last
here
few
to,
days.
yeah, I know, right? We're here
Mm.
today. We're going to talk about mindset and work-life balance for busy working mums, which we all know something about, and we all know someone who's juggling it. Me, for one, I know that much. So I just wanted to really put it over to you for a second so you can introduce yourself and really just share with us what started you and what you're doing and what sort of drove your passion for helping busy working mums.
Thanks, Nicola. It's so beautiful to be here and be able to share a little bit of my journey and maybe some tips and ideas that will help other busy working mums.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've been coaching now for just over 3 years. I started just with one-on-one coaching to begin with, and it's starting to branch out a little bit more with some online and some group coaching. But my coaching came from a personal journey, really. I was the typical busy working mum. I'm a teacher by trade, so a high school teacher, and have just literally finished at the end of last year up with my 30-year teaching career to really pursue my coaching. But what really drove me into becoming a coach was my personal breakdown. So about 10 or 12 years ago now, I suffered from anxiety, and that basically was fueled by me being a perfectionist, an overgiver, a workaholic. As you know, I live in Esperance, and so I get heavily involved in the community. My kids were growing up and were sporty little beavers, so I was heavily involved in their sport, being the coach, the umpire, the administrator, you name it, not to mention being a full-time teacher, not to mention being the wife of a real estate agent, and we have our own real estate agency down here. So wearing a gazillion hats led me to overthink everything and worry about everything, not wanting to let anybody down, just doing all the time, and ending up in this sort of cycle of burnout. So I'd crash and burn almost every school holidays and take the holidays to rest and recover, and then start the whole cycle again. And with all of that, burnout led to anxiety. And so I went, I can't live like this anymore. So cut a long story short, went on a bit of a wellness journey to figure out what was going on up here and all the overthinking. Managed to cure my anxiety, find a whole bunch of amazing tools and techniques that really calmed my mind down. And I initially called my business Creating Calm, because that's sort of who I became. I became a beacon for calmness, and started teaching mindfulness and meditation and yoga and things like that as part of my healing journey, and then wanting to share it with others. And from yoga, meditation came coaching, which was just a natural progression, because I've always been someone who listens to everybody and kind of is that sounding board and the mirror for people to talk to. And I went, well, why don't I put all of that together and help people? And so I do now, because if I can do it, a typical busy mum with kids and a crazy busy life, if I can find ways to create some calm and balance in my life, then I can certainly help others to do the same too. So here I am today, coaching.
That's amazing. I mean, we all go through it, and especially the chatter that we tend to have in our head about wanting to be everything to everyone, and making sure we're not letting anyone down. You know, that whole thing of I'm working too much, the kids are missing me, or you're with the kids and work's missing. And there's always that juggling, isn't there? I mean, how is it that life becomes so out of balance for us?
Well, the million-dollar question, isn't it,
Yeah.
really? Personally, I think it is a mindset game, and it comes down to our conditioning and our programming, I reckon. As mums in today's society, there is almost an unwritten rule, expectation, law, if you like, that we should be able to do it all, and we should be able to do it all. And I say should, in inverted commas, because it's an expectation. It's not our belief. It's been something that we've learnt from society, from media, from our friends, from family, and things like that. So there's that expectation that we should be able to do it all and have it all. And so we try our best to do that. And when we keep pushing ourselves to do more and be more, something's got to give. And that's what happened to me with the burnout. You know, you keep doing and doing and doing, and not allowing yourself time to catch up, to recover, to rest and recuperate. You burn yourself out, and the whole cycle starts all over again. So I really think it's a conditioning that we've kind of, where we are right now. I know a lot of people are starting to recognise that and are taking that on board and looking for ways to live life more simply, I think.
Get back to basics. That's why I think you find online now a lot of people are looking with rose-colored glasses at the 80s and stuff like that, when there was no social media and it didn't feel like all these expectations were on top of us as and I know that when I started work when my kids were young, I just tried to do everything. And I remember I had that burnout phase when my first one went to kindy, and I was trying to drop the little one at daycare. Then the first one had half days at kindy, and then trying to drop one off at daycare, then kindy, pick him up, work in that 2 hours, pick him up, go back. And then I remember my girlfriends took me aside for an intervention one day at Macca's McCafe one night, and just said, we're meeting tonight at 7 o'clock and you're going to be there. And they just said, you need to stop this. They just said, this needs to stop because you are going to burn out. And so sometimes it takes an outside of you to really see what you're going through, and sometimes that honesty can really have an impact, and can either pull you back from the edge of burnout, or if you do have burnout, can help you get out the other side.
Yeah, definitely that outside intervention, or even, dare I say it, the big crash yourself, like, you know, burnout beyond burnout, where you're actually can't do anything, you're no good to anyone, and you wake up and go, hang on a minute, I just did that again. It's time for me to do something else, something about it. So yeah, definitely good on your girlfriends.
Oh, they were, because we were all part of the same mothers group. So it was all three of our kids were at kindy together, and they knew I'd been working since the little one was 7 months old, trying to balance whilst they were home, and that's enough to get you. But this whole driving between half days at kindy and working and daycare, and they could just tell it just wasn't going to happen. So they'd obviously talked and seen that I needed emotional help, and they were there. If they weren't, who knows, I probably would have just burnt myself right out and had to start again. But they were lucky enough. So I ended up giving a portfolio of my work to another girlfriend who'd been made redundant and was going to start working freelance. So I was able to do that and only keep 10 hours of work. So I was very lucky in that regard. I could make that decision because I did work for myself. I know a lot of people don't have that luxury. So I was lucky to pull it right back, spend time with the little one and still work, and then build it back up as they got older. But it took that one session. So I understand the work life. I mean, look, I still haven't got it. I've got teenagers that look after themselves now, and I still feel that guilt, pulled pillar to post for, soccer training and this and school, year 11 stuff now. And it's never, I realized, I thought, oh, when they're in high school, it'll be easy. Well, no, they just go to more things, and it just becomes you're driving them until they get a license to parties and drop-offs and pickups at midnight. And you know, that's all fine. I think if you can save time for yourself, I do a lot of staycations with girlfriends, really close girlfriends. And that tends to be the way that I can reward myself for going through, you know, 3 or 4 months of the hard slog and have a 1 or 2 day break. And you just got to find what it is. I mean, what is the perfect work-life balance? I mean, does it even exist, or is there a way that we can look to achieve it?
Yeah, look, I think that's a really good question. And I know it's one that a lot of the ladies that I work with ask the same thing, you know, what is the perfect work-life balance? And I don't know that there really is one, to be honest, simply because we all run to different programs, don't we? We all have our own unique way of doing life. And I really think balance is the same. There is your own kind of unique way that you can bring balance into your life. And what that looks like for you might be different to what it looks like for me and anybody else. But there certainly is a way that you can feel more balanced day to day. And it might not be the same every single day either. I think there's certainly times in our lives where, you know, the balance might look out of balance, but it feels right, like you feel like you're in flow. And then there are other days where it's the same sort of chaos, let's say, but it feels heavy and hard. So it completely depends on your own energy levels, your ability to manage what it is that you have on your plate, and put all of those, you know, juggling all those balls. So I think it's a real personal thing. And that's what I like to do with my clients, is find what their balance point is. And it's different for everyone. And I think that's the tricky part, knowing, you know, what your limits are, what your boundaries are, knowing when you've got the energy levels, when they're at peak and when they're not so, you know, even in getting down to your personal rhythms and things like that. So, you know, really...
I've really started to notice that as I got older as well, how you can see the rhythms come in different times that you just feel out of whack, and then you feel back into it. Like this week, I've noticed a lot of people are feeling a bit out of whack, and I just noticed it even more. So there can be lots of things around it, but especially when you're trying to do everything and you're not the normal things, you're not eating right, you're not drinking water, you're not getting fresh air, you're stuck at a desk 9 hours a day. And it builds up. And that's where I find I get stuck. That's my one, is where I just get stuck in the go, go, go. I don't take the time to drink the water, get the fresh air. And before you know it, 2-3 weeks of that, and you're in a hole. So I have to be mindful to make that a priority in my life, because it's the only way I can keep going. So how, you know, what can we do you think, to bring balance back into the work and life? Is it about knowing your rhythms and making sure, even if you take journal or if you do something like that, to make sure that you're aware of them?
Yeah, definitely. And I tuned into something you mentioned about yourself, taking, being mindful about where you're at and what's going on. And I truly believe that with awareness, we can make better decisions for ourselves. So the key really is to understanding yourself. And the best way to do that is to be more mindful about what's going on. What have you got going on in your life? How are you feeling about what's going on in your life? And maybe assessing where you're at. You know, are there some things that I don't need in my life right now for this season that I can put on hold or do at another time? Or, you know, being super aware, that whole mindfulness and noticing what's going on, not only around you and your environment, your circumstances, but also inside of you as well, in your own energy levels and, you know, what you're taking on board in your mind and how you're feeling about things. So, yeah, my first thought is definitely to be more mindful about what's going on. And then once you are aware, then you can really tune into what you need. So I think as busy working mums, we forget that we personally are the best source of information for ourselves. we quite often seek other support from others, which, you know, at times we need that, absolutely. Don't get me wrong there. I think connecting and having a support network is really crucial to being a super mum, for want of a better word. We need our support network, but tuning into what we already know, and when we really listen to what we need, then we can make really informed decisions about what we keep and what we chuck away, or what we deal with now or what we save for later.
And we have to be honest with ourselves too, and realize that we can't do it all. We have to say no to some things. And also we get into those habits, you know, that thing of, okay, well, I'll get up and have a coffee and I'll run off to take the kids to school. Well, no, maybe get up that half an hour earlier, just sit and be quiet for a little while, listen to what's going on. You know, some people journal, some people manifest, some people just sit. I find if I can just be quiet for half an hour without all the noise of emails, checking my phone, the kids, everything, then I can get balanced. But if I'm up and I'm late and I'm off straight away, that whole day is whole energy's changed.
Absolutely.
So it's the little things, isn't it? Just the tiny things. Half an hour of just quiet could be enough to set your day up for success. So it doesn't have to be these gigantic life shifts that everyone thinks it needs to be. It just needs to be whatever works for you, and smaller bits throughout the day, I believe too. Even like after lunch, if you sit and be quiet for that 15 minutes and hear again where you're at, you're more likely to have a more successful afternoon than, you know, eating through your lunch and just powering through and crashing at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. Those little bits, small steps, baby steps. And we talked about it a little bit earlier in the interview, was, you know, coming back to basics. So making sure that your personal health and well-being is paramount and taken care of, like you're well rested and had enough sleep, you're hydrated and drinking plenty of water, you're nourishing yourself with good wholesome food, and moving in a way that is, you know, good for your body, particularly if you're sitting at a desk for long periods of time, or even if the opposite, if you're standing up all day, then you probably need some sort of rest time. And on top of that, like nature, I think getting out in nature and reconnecting with the earth, if you've got beaches nearby or water courses or bush to hang out in, just spending
even grass, isn't it? Just taking your shoes off. Because I've got a park right opposite me, and all I need to do is take those shoes off and do one lap, and I'm back to where I need to be. It literally takes 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So
yeah, as simple as that. And isn't that right? Just 5 minutes is all that you need to really stop, take a breath, feel your feet on the ground, especially in the grass. I mean, nothing better than beautiful crisp grass to put your feet on, or the beach sand, and just be for a moment. Like, the world is not going to end if you just stop for 5 minutes.
Yeah, and if you don't check your phone for 5 minutes, the world is not going to end, although I swear I think it will. There are times when I've just been with friends and let my phone go for, I don't know, 2 hours. Nothing happened, but I feel more connected to myself, my friends, where I'm at. And so why can't I do that when I'm by myself too? Why can we not just disconnect and spend that half an hour just by yourself, listening to how you feel and what your body needs? I think we forget that. It's about our friends, our family, our job, our thing. But sometimes we just forget to just sit there with us. And that's why I believe, like, you either sit there and think through stuff, or you journal and you manifest and you get it out. Some people have to think it through internally. Some just have to get it out and feel it out of them. Otherwise, their mind chatter just gets too big. So it's about what works for you, isn't it? I mean, I do it when I walk. If I walk and I have a half-hour walk with the dogs, that's when I'll do my thinking. It depends what works for you, you know?
Yeah, 100%. And some people like to talk it out too. So, you know, there's different ways, whether you're talking it to someone else or you're just talking to the dogs while you're walking. I find I like to verbalise. I'm sure a few people think I'm a little bit mad sometimes, but hey, whatever works. But yeah, I love journaling too. And a lot of my clients journal and just write it down, because I often say, if it's going around in your head, you're adding more to the story. Whereas if you write it down, you've given it a job, you've given those words something to do, and therefore you don't need to worry about them anymore, you don't need to deal with them. And sometimes writing it down can help you to unpack it a little bit more too, and really see what's going on. So yeah, there's also lots of beautiful ways to really, you know, connect with yourself and or get out of your head and back into your body and just take some chill time. I think 5 minutes of just being is so restorative and so rejuvenating that when you come back to your work that you're doing, you're actually more productive and you're actually more efficient and effective at what you do. If we keep pushing and pushing and doing and doing and doing, all we're doing is depleting all of our resources, our energy, and our ability to make good decisions. And so we end up, you know, making not so good decisions and having to do twice as much work.
And I mean, how many, you know, business owners, big high profile ones, have you even heard, what is it, Adriana Huffington, you know, where you have that adrenal, you know, everything just shuts down. The body just says enough, you know, and that's it. You're gone. Your whole body needs to recover. And there's been so many that's happened to. So you've got to spend that time listening in and just making sure you're on. I mean, look, I'm guilty of all of it. So I've had to, especially now getting older, realize to pull back and just sort of say, look, come on, what do you need? People that know me will go, I don't know, but that probably banana bread from McDonald's is about as close in chocolate chip muffins from Muffin Break is my outlet. But I've had to learn to just sort of step back. And that's where the dogs come in, or if you've got pets or kids, or, you know, just get out and about with them, because the dogs look at me at 5 o'clock every single day and the barking starts because they know it's their time. So I get up, get out, and that's me done. I've got no choice. I'm out. They're my dogs. That's, you know, so you've got to find something that makes you, meeting friends and, you know, walking around and just getting it out is a great one too. What's the best place for people to find out more about what you've got going on, to find you on socials? Where's the best place for that to happen?
So I hang out in Facebook. I'm a bit of a Facebook fan. And so I've got a business page called Lesa Blackham Coaching. And within that coaching, I've set up a little free Facebook group called the Calm Mums Community, where beautiful women can come in a safe and nurturing place and get lots of tools and tips and ideas on how to, you know, take better care of themselves, manage their time, ways to de-stress and chill out a bit more, which is just a really nice place. And I also have Instagram too, just Lesa Marie Blackham on Instagram. So yeah, we love a bit of social. It's a great time, great place to just, you know, share information and hang out.
It is. And you really know that you're not alone. That's what I think is great. And even just seeing a quote or seeing a link to something that you're going through at that time, it might be all you need, you know, to get through that day you're having. And I noticed, like I was saying this week, a few people online have been having tough weeks, and it's just good to see other people, you know, saying the same things, and you're like, oh, it's not just me. You know, just one of those weeks everyone has, or something happened. And I think that's where the social part of the social channels is great. I think that's when, if you need that support, like you're saying, your Facebook group is there, you're there. There's tons of people who've been through it and can guide you through it, whether it's, you know, through one-on-one coaching or group sessions, or just, as you say, being part of the free group and just chatting to other women who are in the same situation as you. I find that is one of the greatest things of social media, in creating a safe spot for women to really talk these things through.
Yeah, definitely. And it's certainly something that's getting more and more prevalent, but it doesn't take away from the physical connection either. I think that's paramount, is having that social kind of human connection where you are face to face with people too. So
exactly. And that's where, like, you know, your local business women's group, like where we've connected through, or you know, they have lots of in-person things, your Chamber of Commerce if you're a small business person, in regards to even pet groups. I'm part of the Whippets community group. You know, those sorts of things are great outlets that aren't work, where you can just chat and be yourself with things that you love. So, you know, lots of hobbies, things like that. I think, well, as you're saying, like meetups, they're great because people that are like-minded are more likely to raise your level and make you enjoy your life again, which is part of the, you know, like the, what is it, belong, commit, you know, those sorts of things where it's just part of mental health. You've got to make sure you look after yourself in regards to your mindset, but be aware and see the signs when you can tell that you're struggling and reach out.
Definitely. That
Well,
awareness is key.
It's been awesome to have you with me today on the Small Business Cheerleader. Thank you, Lesa. And we're going to, I'll pop some links up when this comes out on YouTube to all of the channels so people can find you there. And yeah, it's just been great getting back grounded again when it comes to mindset, because I think I call in my, on my channels, a kick up the butt session. So I run those every couple of days just to say, look, kick up the butt, you need to be doing this, that, or the other. So today, my kick up the butt for everyone is just take half an hour today to sit down and just go through what you're feeling and thinking, and wherever you think you need assistance in that, look for it. And Lesa's here, I'm here, we're all here to help. So yeah, make sure you take that time and look after yourself, I think is my main finish for that one.
I love that. What a perfect way to finish.
Got to finish. Yeah. Lesa, it's been great to talk to you, and yeah, good luck with everything going forward.
Thank you.
Okay, see ya.